You're listening to The Looters, a gritty and appropriate sci-fi podcast.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Kroger Delivery makes it easy to do your holiday shopping in a jingle. There might be a lot on your to-do list, but thanks to Kroger Delivery, you can get everything you need delivered straight to your door at the same great prices you'd find in store. Our refrigerated trucks always ensure that your groceries arrive fresh. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order of $75 or more and get free delivery with a Boost membership. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, welcome to this episode, perhaps the final episode. In fact, not perhaps, but the final episode of Season 1, Ship Talking.
Woo! Wow, yeah. We're so excited.
So impressed,
Don't lie.
I'm trying to drag y'all up.
Before we get started, our producer Nikki's sitting in with us.
Hey! I'm excited, actually.
Nikki
I'm
G.
excited
too.
Nikki G.
I'm here.
Literally Nikki G.
Literally Nikki G.
That's
Wait,
so funny.
whatever happened to Nikki G?
Died. She
Ditto.
got captured by our uncle.
Glassed. I didn't even cry about her.
You didn't even like investigate. You forgot about her so
I
fast.
know.
Too traumatic.
I know.
I
I
totally
can't
forgot about her,
process.
too. It was a
I
lot.
can't
It was a
process.
lot. You had to escape. I don't take it
God.
personally.
Oh, so much has happened.
So Nikki's going to kind of help us stay on track because we're going to talk about a lot today. We're going to talk about episodes 65 and 66.
Yeah.
If you hear Franklin groaning, it's because he has to stay in the room with us.
Oh,
He'd rather be
Baby.
out playing.
this old dog.
And then we're going to go through and talk about kind of the whole series and our thoughts and things like that.
Hell yeah.
I'm so excited.
Hell yeah.
And then we're going to go and talk about the whole series and
there
things
you
like
go.
that.
Oh
Holy
my
shit,
gosh.
guys.
Oh
So
my
many
God.
arcs,
So
so many
exciting.
characters.
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like we should preface by saying that we just listened to the last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, that's the energy you're
So
I
hearing.
think
that's
that's
the energy
good.
we're coming in with right
Yeah.
now.
Thank you. We needed that. Yes.
Oh,
Just for a little
wow.
clarification.
The happiest ending we could have gotten given the circumstances.
Best
Honestly.
ending. that
It's
could have
interesting
happened.
to hear you say that now, I feel like.
Especially
Right
after.
when it happened, you were
You-
just like...
You say that, but if you rolled rather better, theoretically, you would have hacked the turrets and stopped, millions of people from dying. If I rolled better, I theoretically would have convinced my aunt to,
Damn.
to leave the planet. So
So what we learned is
we
we
was
really
a
should
shitty ending.
just
Yeah.
roll better.
The
Roll
dice
better.
did not like us that
Everyone
day.
died.
It's all a dream now.
It was all a dream.
Dream.
Okay.
Copyright infringement.
Incredible.
Well, let's start with 65. That was like the kind of intense ramp-up episode.
yeah, because we haven't talked about that.
Oh
one,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's
That was
right.
almost a real climactic moment.
Yeah.
All of that.
All I
Where did
know.
it start?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, where did it start?
Because it started because we had
Give me
the
a recap.
shootout. Was it the whole shootout? Was the whole
The
shootout?
shootout was the one before.
It was
I
the one
think.
before.
Shootout
so it
was
like
the one before. It was the
Oh, it's when-
65 was him getting
Yeah,
operated
when he
on.
was
Yeah.
mad.
All
Experiences
I know
on.
It was
is that
Ardi
I
getting
walked
taken
away with a whole lot left unsaid.
I'm sure you did.
I
I'm sure you
did.
I
And you
can't wait
said,
to hear it.
you said, just go, Theo. Just go.
I
Yep.
can't look at you.
And I turned
I
away.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole splitting of the party in Dr. Facey's lab. That's what that was.
You had to make a big decision in that
Yeah.
episode. Like,
Sam
Or
throwing
wait,
you the
what?
gun, all that.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
like
Deciding to
whether
get
you
back
were
up
going
on
to
your feet.
continue
Yeah.
living or not.
Yeah,
literally.
well, I mean, like ultimately, like going into that session, I was like, I don't know if I'm playing Levi for season 2, and ultimately, I probably am playing Levi for season 2. But like at that,
Oops,
with,
I know.
with the lead up to that, like I legitimately had no clue whether that was if I even really wanted to keep playing him anymore at that point because it just felt like I was like, oh, like
Pointless.
what's his point?
Yeah.
Like.
Mhm.
And then Sam just whipped you.
Yeah,
Sam's
He
arc.
whipped you into shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam's had like probably the biggest arc.
I
out of
know, I
anyone.
love an
Yeah.
NPC arc.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
love
Sam's
fun.
grown up.
Sam's grown up. I was just talking to Matt about this. I love Sam's like grown up voice because it's still a squeaky,
Right.
but it's like,
But
it's like more grounded squeaky.
Yeah, he's like confident. He's like, he knows what he's saying.
yeah.
I was really hoping you'd do like a switch into like this deep voice all of a sudden.
Maybe.
While you were talking to Levi.
Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because in the first episode you did that.
Let me just.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh were you saying?
No, because in the first episode, you gave him this whole speech about like you need a man up now.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
that's basically
Do you
how
want
it
to see
ended.
your mom?
Yeah, right. Like it's okay.
That
you just
is
killed
crazy.
somebody. It's
Yeah.
fine. You got to move on now. And now he's like, you've got to decide what you
Yeah.
want to do.
I
That
really
was
wanted him to
so
ask
good.
if you wanted to see your mom at the end.
Yeah, that would have been really funny.
Yeah.
Full circle moment.
That would have been fucked up though. Actually, that would have
Yeah,
been
that would've
more
been really
crazy
fucked up.
About as fucked up as his first one, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, how it started. Yeah, that all happened, and then Ardi, you were fully captured and thrown into the brig.
Into the brig.
So long. Thanks
Yeah.
for all the fish, everyone. Howdy.
Yes, I was 65, and then 66 was sort of final moments, the breakup between El Capitan and Theo.
Oh, we're just jumping
Yeah, I
right
guess
into
so.
that
We're
one.
going to that
Well, just giving the
Okay.
recap of the
But
two.
that recap was okay.
Would you like to say more?
I just feel like you skipped a whole bunch.
What other stuff did I miss there?
And episode
That
66.
that they literally like helped get a whole bunch of people underground, and then they lost Jane.
That's 66, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the breakup
I
happened.
what
in,
you
then it
just
happened-
said.
happened-
You said the
happened in
breakup.
66.
I know that's why I wasn't done recapping all of 66. I was just hitting you two first. Jesus Christ.
We were like the last part of the whatever. Do your thing, I guess, even though it makes no sense.
Anything else about 65 you guys want to say?
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. I'll stop.
Wait, hold on. Let me think. Actually. So Levi was a little bitch. I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah!
just kidding.
No,
I'm
you're
just
not
kidding. No,
kidding.
you weren't. You weren't.
I
You
have
weren't, you
very
weren't.
strong
No, I
opinions
know.
on
Well,
that.
tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I
then.
am kind of curious what Levi's perspective was, like why he, like, because I'm still shocked, and I kind of don't fully understand like why he's so mad at everyone else for the combat decisions, you know?
Well, Ardi, first off, killed my aunt. Or not my aunt, my cousin and my dad.
Well, he didn't know that though.
Yeah, but, like, I had begged you not to.
Well, you said don't kill. You said not to kill.
Yeah, let's get into it.
What's his name? Mark Quint. Yes, you said don't kill Quint. You said we need to keep Quint alive.
But
I
then
know,
isn't
I
that exactly
didn't-
what you did?
I didn't say
yeah, I
specifically
did, but I
Quint.
also was like Quint took my legs, so it's like my prerogative.
I did not say specifically keep Mark Quinn alive. I
love
said, like,
this.
hey, guys, we need
Hey
to,
man, I edited the episode and looked back twice. We could go to the books. He's just said to keep Quint alive.
Okay, maybe it was, like, in the heat of the moment, but, like, for me in that situation, I remember saying, like, guys, like, we need to, like, stop and not... Because, like, ultimately, like, what caused the outburst initially was
Me.
Theo shooting Claybar.
For
Right.
sure.
And that's when I blew up on everybody and said, hey, guys, we can't kill these people. I need them in order to find my mom.
Yeah. Also, I was yelling at you too, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're dumb. What are we doing?" And it makes sense.
You're dumb. What are you doing?
And so for me, it was, like, more so just kind of like I don't know. I felt very betrayed, like, in that moment where I'm like, oh, like, it feels like the party, like, you know, like, I begged for this, like, one thing, and it just got, like, ignored, and then on the aftermath of it, it's like, I'm brought back to life, and now it's like, oh, we need to go do this now, and it's like, well, no, like, why do I don't feel like I have an obligation to do anything for you guys right now.
It's just like a funny to parallel, I think, Levi's coming out of unconsciousness and Ardi's coming out of unconsciousness, because they're very similar. Whereas Ardi kind of mostly died in that attempt to kind of help the party and like get things going, you know. And Levi died in his attempt to like save the world how he wanted to do it. And it's just like interesting to me to see how both of them kind of come out of it and kind of have a similar disassociation with like my goals and stuff are now like who fucking cares?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Ardi's disassociation is like, all right, let's go get shot again.
Yeah.
And Levi's is like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, for me, like, I think that, like, moment, like, down at the end of that 65 where it's, like, all, like, sitting alone with the gun, just, like, kind of having that, like, grounding moment where I'm, like, oh, like, I don't know, for me, like, personally, in, like, real life, you know, it's almost like we're recording this a couple weeks after an important election.
My
But,
God.
like, you know, not getting too caught up in larger existential, or, like, for me, like, one of the things I think about a lot, like, I'm not a, like, religious person, but, like, you know, like, the idea of, like, the serenity prayer. But it's something along the lines of, like, oh, like, accepting the things that you can't control and changing things that you can, and having the good grace to know which is which, what the difference between the two is, and kind of going like one of those things where it's like, all right, like these things are out of my power now. What's here in front of me? Like it's this, like I'm breathing in air. there's people on this planet that need help, and then kind of like taking it like one step at a time. And it's like I feel like for me like. Yeah, because like when I did come out of like that hole, it was kind of like, okay, like I take one step and then another and another, and then pretty soon I'm out of like the cave kind of thing. So it's like, all right, like how do I like reset here?
I liked your progression. I think that it was like frustrating to watch, obviously, like playing as in character, but then also third person, seeing it all happen. It made sense, and it was very natural, and you did lose everything in your perspective, right? So, like, what do you have to live for? I understand that, and I like, too, that it was Sam and not one of us that kind of got you back into, like, the reality of things. It all made sense.
Yeah.
I feel bad. As Theo, I don't feel bad. I mean, I do feel bad.
No, but I see also your decision was like made sense.
Yeah. I don't think anyone like really had ill intents or like were trying to.
But Levi doesn't know that.
No, but it's
that's
just
another
like...
thing as well. Is like I haven't talked to him. Like really, like if you're looking at it from like Levi's perspective.
Yeah.
We're on the ship going towards the we're going to go to Avelia. First thing that happens. Melinda fumbles and shoots fucking the speeder, and it crashes. Okay, it's fine. Mistake. Whatever. We're willing to move past it. We can work off of it, kind of thing.
Sounds like you don't really forgive me for a fumble. But...
Well, no, but I'm like, look at the order of events that happened.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's the first thing that happened. It's like, okay, fuck, it happens. We're going still. And then get out of the ship.
What was it, a Monday?
Like, honestly, call me Garfield, how much I hate Mondays.
So stupid.
That's dumb.
It is a Monday.
Even better!
But then El Capitan and Ardi show up. First thing they do, come in. They shoot the speeder with my dad and cousin in it. Again. It's the second time they get hit.
No, first thing they do is shoot the White Company people killing Aberly first.
Yeah,
and
fuck
then,
yeah.
And then
Well, wasn't my dad in that speeder with Avelia?
Yes.
Well, yes, at first. That got blown up and they were thrown to the ground. And then the White Company people arrived. They were controlling all of them and about to take them away. Ardi and El Capitan fly in, shoot all the White Company people, blowing up Avelia.
And
then shoot Mark Quint and
my
your
dad
as their
and then
speedering
Claybar
off.
Gets shot.
And then somewhere
It's
in there,
it's
Theo
just like
shoots
it's
Claybar.
5 things in a row that were just like I know a lot of it does come down to bad rolls, but again, if you're in the imaginary circumstance of the situation, I don't know that. Like I'm not like, like
they rolled a 1.
They rolled a 1. Yeah. It's like, they clearly didn't mean to do that. No, it's like, no, I'm just like watching like my friends who are supposed to come over here and help me all of a sudden just like fucking blow this shit up. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, okay. And it happens again and again. And I'm like, oh my God, can we like stop? And then it happens again. And that's a nail in the coffin.
It's just a testament to how we all try to solve things differently because we all thought we were doing something good in the moment.
Oh, but no, I 100% agree with you.
Which is crazy, but
that doesn't mean I can't.
No.
I'm still affected by it.
Yeah, well,
sure.
like Ian can
You're not
recognize
allowed
and
to be
I feel
affected
the
by
most
something.
for you because
More than
you
my
acted
interest.
as a leader for us this whole time, and then right when you were like, "Okay, guys, I have this one thing that I need to do," we all literally shit the bed.
Yeah. Obliterate that completely.
Everything went. So yeah, I mean, everything.
Yeah. Which makes sense why at 65 you were like, I don't want anything to fucking do with you people.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If it's I forget who it was that said this in the Discord, but it was something along the lines of like Levi would help them if it was a mutual goal, but we're not going to be friends doing it anymore.
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
is like,
that was an awkward puzzle piece.
yeah.
Stop it!
The Discord commentary on 65.
Join the
was
Discord.
hard. It's really good.
That's a really good point. That's really good. But that breaks my heart, even though I broke
And
it.
he-
Which would be a fun arc.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah, for sure.
That's like season 2. Like, what is going to be that
Yeah.
inciting
What must
incident that
be
brings
that
us
call
all
to
back
action?
together? And what's
Yeah.
that like? Like, fucking hell.
I feel like season 2 is gonna be. There's gonna be some.
It's not going to be a happy start.
I don't think that it's gonna be what we're expecting.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Once I figure it out, I'll let you know. And then, okay, anything else on 65 that we want to talk about?
I don't think so.
And 66, which we just listened to. Thoughts about that, about each individual's vignette and the breakup, the, saving as many people as you can, and then accepting Ardi, you accepting your fate and going wherever they want to take you.
I have thoughts.
Go ahead.
I have a lot of feelings.
Could you get the nut out of your teeth there?
Jesus Christ.
I have a lot of feelings.
You literally do have nut dust on your tooth. Could you clean that up first?
Let
So I can
her
look at
keep
that?
her nut dust.
Nothing wrong with nut dust.
Okay.
All right. Some people like nut dust.
Jesus Christ.
Where is it?
It's gone
Okay,
now.
so you're a bitch.
You literally had a piece of almond just on your tooth.
I think he was lying to you the whole
I
time.
agree.
Yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
asked her for clarification because I don't trust him. Nut dust is crazy.
That's the title of this talk.
No. The way he sews it now is crazy too. I was like, brother. Okay.
You trying to go first?
I don't know because I feel like what happened first? He happened first, right?
I happened
You
first.
have it first.
And then we were trying to like figure out because you were like, don't let El Capitan just come, guns ablazing, which is literally what her idea was
So
Yeah.
to
funny.
do. And
I
then
tried
Sky
to- I
was
tried to
like,
be funny
no, don't
really
do
hard.
that. And then
Well, I do feel like the theme of this episode was like the Sky arc. You know, like it really felt like all right, time for Sky to get their own arc, and we're kind of just because Sky was like literally like hopping in with everyone. They're like the one unifying thing between the three of us, and like kind of made her big choices.
She
Kind of-
was always the main character.
yeah,
honestly.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a joke. Like, that's sort of the
No,
way that
that's
I
the
was
point,
writing.
right?
Yeah, the way I was writing it was like, okay, who's the main character of the story that's happening
It just
if
so
you guys
happened.
weren't even there?
Yep.
And it would be like, okay, Sky, and you can plug and play any character.
It just so happened that
and then
we
it just
got
so
on the
happens
ship.
that you are the ones that survived from the Tartarus and happen to find Sky and so on and so forth. But Sky was always the sort of central through line. That it makes sense that was the last, that was sort of the last episode.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that we can still like communicate through your thoughts is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like forever too, like it's like no matter the distance and stuff too. I think like it's just kind of like a thing.
Yeah, Ardi and Levi can with the
Yeah.
ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Hey Levi, you up?
Yeah. What are you up to? What are you wearing?
Are you still mad at me?
You want to play League of Legends?
facts. That's so real.
Yeah. Well, actually, that would be interesting. Maybe something we can chat about when we're doing the backstories for whatever time jump we do for like season 2, where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, like,
okay.
is there like an instance where like one of us does reach out to the other?
Well, and Ardi is still like as oblivious as Drew is about trying to understand the feelings. Ardi is literally oblivious
No,
that you
yeah.
have any at all.
Yeah.
Ardi's like, I don't know, Levi and me are good.
Yeah. But like, so I guess you don't know that you killed my dad. Yeah, I have zero idea. What about my cousin though?
I didn't know your cousin
Who's
was in
your
there.
cousin?
Avelia.
Avelia.
Adopted.
I didn't know that she was in that transport at that time or what her body looked like in that suit, and I certainly didn't intend to shoot her anyway. It was just like a misfire.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
And so I wouldn't think you would blame me for like people getting randomly shot. Like I got randomly shot in the last combat,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're right, but that's really.
That's
It's like, have
I
we ever
got
been in a
randomly
combat where someone didn't get like kind of randomly grievously injured
You know
and
what's
almost
crazy?
die? Like that's just what
I
happens.
made the same argument, and Maris hated me for it. So
yeah,
I
it's-
completely agree. Accidents happen.
Hey, don't think I'm not on your side between the.
I know.
the
I'm just
Maris
saying
and
that
Theo riff.
revived me. Is she gonna come back? Her and
Certainly could.
Alistair.
Certainly could.
That's crazy. I forgot about them. Not gonna lie.
She's gonna be my character in season 2. I'm just-
No, you're not allowed to do that. We decided it was a
GM
rule.
characters. Yeah, well, what was your thought about the breakup, about you, or just sort of like individual thoughts with how each of your arcs ended? I'm curious to hear how you, like, I'm especially curious about you making the decision to say, like, Sky, I'm at your service.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's okay to talk about and like go back all the way to like episode 1.
Sure.
Season one.
Yeah, well, I
Season
mean, that's
one.
talk back. That's the deal today.
Yeah. So with my character, it's pretty obvious that I didn't have many goals besides just being in a big race.
Right. Yeah.
And I had
Which
made
you guys all very skillfully avoided. All that prep that I did, but it's fine.
She got her
MK
race.
Ultra. I got
Yeah.
my race,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Somewhat. So
Eject.
it was like, what do I want to do now? It's like being a part of this group, but like finding more purpose within that. And I just couldn't, like, besides having like friends and whatnot. Like, I couldn't find, like, something that would drive me, and I felt kind of lost. So then I thought, what is a person who feels lost and doesn't know what to do with their life turn to? Religion!
That's
I
awesome.
need something! And then it's kind of also that, like, I'm intimidated by Sky. She clearly knows better than I do. I always try to do something, and I don't accomplish it well.
Sky always has an opinion on what you should do.
Yes, Sky always has an opinion on what she should do. And, like, I'm just, like, I don't have anything else to, like, look towards. And I need something, right?
Sure.
So I'm going to be at her mercy, like I said.
Yeah.
That's kind of was my thought process. And I really want to, and we'll talk about it more,
Yeah,
but
of
I
course.
do want to explore, like, what that looks like.
Feisty. Guarding his bone.
I won't explore it.
This is my bone.
Don't get it twisted, y'all. Franklin's not hurting nobody. Okay?
Oh no, he's a
My
vicious
leg.
beast. He's ready to rip your head off. You know.
Don't bite
So
me, Franklin.
scary.
I just want to explore what that looks like. What, like, someone who is now all of a sudden, like, dedicated to this one thing, this one god, because they didn't have anything else to look towards, right?
Sure.
And I feel like that's a very fascinating character, and we'll see what happens
Well,
with that.
hey, you know, I mean, like, Sky's real.
Yeah, at least that.
A lot of religions don't have
That's
that going
true.
for them.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well-
god.
Well, that's
Wow, that's crazy.
sort of some insights into season 2, which is something I think, Ian, you mentioned a little ways back, or last time we saw each other, was like man-machine, man-god and machine relationship to God. And like that's obviously a direct through line with what you're setting up. So that'll be very fun to explore.
Yeah, should be interesting. But then I also want to do it in a way where it's like I'm still me, right? Like,
Sure,
so
yeah.
that's what I'm very fascinated about exploring. How do we find that balance? And yeah, anyways, I have thoughts.
Yeah, we'll
talk
talk.
later. Spoilers.
And what about the breakup for you? I mean, you deciding to like we've talked about it, but I mean, I'd just be curious for you to expand upon it a little more about why you were like, I have to go and do.
Yeah, I mean, I was wanting. Theo was wanting to leave before that happened. I just wasn't sure like how it was gonna manifest because I know we had talked about it, and I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to save them.
And to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Theo's very dramatic, but
Such an artist.
I don't know. It just wasn't feeling right for me. I felt like a liability to the group, and I didn't want that for them or for me. So, but also, I think it was hard for her to be like, oh my God, like I actually like have found these people, but like this isn't. I need to go like do my own shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's how that felt, and then but I think like actually having that heart to heart with her was heartbreaking. I mean,
Made
I
it hard.
just sobbed listening to it again. It was just like so real, you know, like to have like a best friend and then be like, listen, I support you, but like you're breaking my heart. Like you actually are breaking my heart.
Those are like the hardest breakups.
I really like appreciate how that kind of the speech and the reasons for Theo leaving progressed during that, because it felt like you came out very clear with like I'm a liability, but by the time you were really breaking down and it was really affecting you, you're saying I don't want to see one of my friends die, and that felt like it was kind of like that, like I think I'm doing it because of this, and then you like found the truth of it in that conversation that it's like it hurts too much.
Yeah.
It's like I know that when it comes down to it, my skill set is not gonna help nobody, you know, and
Just
I
the
will
person who
just be
writes
able
music.
to watch you guys die. So like I didn't want that. So that was that. But yeah, it was hard. And then yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous though because I don't know if Sky like kicked me out also at the same time where she was like, I will only take one of you.
No, Sky wasn't saying that.
No,
Sky was
no.
like, I won't control what you
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And but then I was like, you were like, you have money. And I was like, I don't have anything. And you were like,
Yep.
well,
do. Rough.
Figure it
well, you
out.
have an email, so figure it out. I was like, cool. Okay, well, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, cool, right? This is what I wanted.
All right, so what's on the email?
Find out later. Season 2.
What if she was lying
the-
to me
what's
and
in
it
the box?
wasn't
What's in the
good?
box?
The Hillary Clinton emails.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That's
Hunter
crazy.
Biden laptop.
Was Theo wanting to leave before she sent that email out?
I think so. Actually, I think so.
And
I
you stayed
think
on the ship for Janice for a lot of it. Yeah.
I was thinking that like when I decided to stay on the ship is when I Theo realized like I'm not helping them. Like there's nothing that I contribute to the group as an actual, not a provider, I guess. Yeah, I just rock. You know, I just rock out.
But then you came down and saved everybody. Did that
I didn't do that.
challenge your...
No. Did I do that? I didn't do anything.
Well, I mean,
like
you
that.
came down and brought Sky, who then interfaced with the
So
planet.
Sky
Yeah.
did the saving. But Sky manipulated me into going down. so
that was
actually,
crazy.
so it was actually all Sky, and I don't have any
No,
responsibility
you have
at
a deep
all.
talent of being manipulated by Sky.
Yeah.
I have a deep talent of being manipulated.
And probably the healthiest thing is for you to get away from Sky.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
It's like-
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I should say spoilers. No, I'm not going to say nothing. I haven't made any decisions yet.
Yeah, we'll hold off. And then how about for you, Ian, with Levi sort of being forced into this leadership role? I mean, I know like you and I have
I don't know
talked
if he
about...
got forced, but
No,
you know,
but like
he
you
stepped
took
up.
it on, stepping
Yeah.
up in that way. Like we had sort of talked about this idea of Levi igniting or starting or leading this revolution, and now it's
The revolution.
not
will
necessarily.
cost
Yeah, the revolution will cost
many
many lives.
lives.
Not necessarily a revolution as it is just survival for these people,
Yeah.
and them needing a leader, and it's sort of a flipped version of that. Like, I mean, I guess you sort of saw it coming, obviously, with how things were progressing, but why? I guess I'm a little curious as to just your general thoughts on how that progressed and how that ended up. Number one, number two, where you think it might be going, and then three, why you decided to, after all the stuff we had just talked about, especially in 65, decided to do that and not just be like,
Yeah.
fuck these people. Like, I'm not the right person for this job or whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
Well, I feel like looking at it like I feel like in a hero's journey kind of thing, where it's like, oh, like what made it work really well was again like talking about the idea of like having Levi stripped of everything. It's like like purpose and like motivation and stuff like that, and then kind of being like naked in terms of like like who am I? What am I doing? And then
Yeah, you don't have your ideals anymore.
Yeah. And then like Jesus coming out of the cave after the third day.
Okay.
You know,
Oh.
rising from
No,
the
I'm
Dr.
Jesus.
Face's lab.
We discussed this.
Guys, I'm the chosen one.
Well, I don't know if anymore. I have similar abilities and powers.
Get
so.
fucked. She
Oh,
said I
chosen
took an
ones.
experiment on you.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is going to be
Bitch.
the like apocalyptic battle
Except
between Levi
between
and
Levi
Ardi
and
at the end.
Ardi.
We
The
both
gods
ascended to
fight
God.
at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Because what if you are like the whatever it's
pointing at
called,
me.
the Imperial fucking their
Imperial
chosen
Empire.
one, but you're Sky's chosen one.
I don't really fuck with Sky, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, but now you kind of have to. No,
So you're the
Well,
devil.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
the fallen angel.
Yeah.
baby.
Lucifer.
Getting
Yeah.
getting
I feel like
loosely
God's
biblical
more
here.
imperialistic, you know.
Loosely.
Probably.
We're directly referencing.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you
But to
saying?
come out of the cave and then like be confronted with this.
But the cave, guys.
But the cave. But the allegory of the cave. Plato's. But yeah, coming
different allegory.
We're in all the caves, baby. But yeah, no, coming out of the cave and seeing the people, it's like, like it kind of again like being in a present moment where it's like I'm taking one step in front of another, and then being greeted with these people that I grew up around, and then like also being on my home planet, and it's like it's kind of like going. It's like. If I had to make an allegory for it in like real life, it's like I go to LA,
An
my
allegory out
acting
of the
career
allegory.
exactly. I go to LA, my acting career fails, it tanks. The looters break up because I hate all you
What the
guys.
fuck?
That's
I know,
crazy.
insane. And then I'm
Quit
forced to
making
go
movies.
back home and like live with my parents, kind of thing.
Ventura.
You know? Fillmore. But, please don't dox me.
You don't live there now.
I don't.
You already said you live in LA.
Yeah. But Fillmore's a small town. But yeah, going to Fillmore and then like being like, okay, like now I'm here and this is like what's in front of me and here's what, like having to rebuild for myself, I feel like that's kind of, yeah, it's like starting at square one. But it's also like, like in the end it is kind of ultimately like one of the loose goals of Levi is still have that like one thing that I get the scraps of, you know, that I can build off of.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe less of a resurrection, more of a baptism.
Oh, I need to
In some
read up on my
bottle.
Christian, general Christian stuff.
Should we
Come
sell
on, get
your
on the New
bathwater?
Testament.
Yeah, I'm an Old Testament kind of guy.
Saltburn.
We can tell. We
Yeah.
played your games.
yeah,
Holy
Yeah.
feet water.
yeah. Oh God. I just from like sort of you bringing up the hero's journey thing, that's sort of something I've always kept present in the back of my mind with this is sort of like, what's the hero? There's, it's like 17 steps or whatever it is and different versions of it. But I've always sort of seen it as almost like a loop-de-loop where like it comes down, loops, and then you go into the trials, loops again, and comes back up. And like each of those little loops is where you have a whole the other version of the hero's journey. And it feels like, to me, with what especially is going to happen with Levi and also with the rest of the characters, whomever if it's the original ones for sure, that like it's only just begun. Like you've learned some stuff, but now the real difficult trials lay ahead of like building something or trying to do something. Like you've returned to the old way of being, but you're totally different. So it can't be the same.
Well, I think Drew, you touched on this last time we met up, but it's kind of like, season 1 just kind of feel like a prologue more so than anything else, where it feels like the setup. Like now that we have like all the like our characters like have gone through all these arcs and these journeys, and now we have set up for season 2. It's like, oh, it almost feels like this is now when the real story starts almost.
In a way, at least 2 of you have just returned back home.
Yeah.
And actually, Theo, too, in a way, in her own version of returning back to where you began.
Touring.
Yeah.
Nobody gave me the memo. That we can just return back home.
Just go back to Chava.
I told you,
God.
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Drew, for you and what happened with Ardi, I think that was, in a way, a little bit of the most forced hand there. Having to, be captured and not being able to do much about it, and then Sky sort of saying, hey, we should go back to your home planet and just see what's up and go and figure this out. Like, sort of what are your thoughts about that whole sequence and how that all ended?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by Franklin trying to guard his bone from me. What are my thoughts about it? I haven't been thinking about it much, honestly. Because it doesn't feel like it's the end of an arc, Like, it feels like it's
the start of the continuation.
Continuation,
almost,
It doesn't even feel like a start. Like, it feels like because it's not like my body's been transformed, and now I'm here, and I have a new purpose, and I'm, like, going off to do a new thing. Like, kind of like a Levi-esque sort of arc, Or like, I'm, like, changing gears. I'm just kind of like, I'm still falling down the rabbit hole,
Sure.
Like, I don't know why I'm being created for this. I don't know, like, why this happened to my character, and, like, what people want out of it. And, and like Sky said, like, just keep following the rabbit hole. It feels like that's all there is to do, because it's like I don't really know more. I think it's, like, interesting. Sky suggested we keep following down the rabbit hole. I was pretty on board until Sky said that, to be like, no, we're going to bust me out of here. Maybe it'll be, like, get to my home planet, and maybe it'll be like I need to like wait to find a way to escape and that sort of thing. Maybe it'll be like popping us out of the slip will like give an advantage to being able to do like an extraction mission and that sort of thing. But I feel like at this point in Ardi's life, he's just kind of like, oh, yep, we're gonna go on a mission that I could die on like every day. Like that's what we do now. And so like the idea of launching a daring escape sounds very like, yep, we're space heroes. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And then when Sky was saying like, oh, we should like just keep going. I think it kind of changed my perspective. I feel like I kind of saw like this is Ardi's ending, and then kind of like geared towards that versus trying to fight it a whole bunch.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I'm curious. I feel like I still am shrouded in mystery as to what is coming up. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Figure it out.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, that the sort of central arc is about Sky and then Sky's machinations. Like, it very much feels like Sky won, and like in all of the various avenues
like
and
that, don't you?
100%.
Yeah, he's so happy.
And where all of these pieces that Sky has placed on the board now are all off and doing their various things. It's just like, okay, like, Theo's been manipulated by her, but how much so have you all been manipulated by Sky this whole time? And
It's almost like we didn't have free will.
And where does that end
improv.
up?
It's a tabletop RPG. That means you
get to improv.
What? I didn't know that.
And so it'll be. I have ideas, and we'll obviously all talk about it individually and prep for season 2. But where this may end with what Sky is trying to do and figure out and all of that, be very fun to. Especially with how you two have been experimented on, Levi and Ardi, and what that means, and you becoming a religious zealot.
I really hope, because I'm dedicating my life, that she like gives me special powers now.
Yeah.
I'm
Make them-
sacrificing
Well,
myself.
Deanna's
how
like,
dedicated are you?
Yeah.
Cut
Clearly,
my
Sky
wrist.
still loves us more.
God. Oh my gosh. Trigger warning, Deanna,
Sorry,
please.
sorry. In a religious sense, not in
Stigmata.
Religious sense. Oh, okay, then it's fine.
Nails to the
That's better
cross
than.
for you, Sky.
Well, with that all being said, any other thoughts about the finale and the end of the season before we go back into the rest of the
I mean,
show?
sad, but I think, like you said earlier, it was like the best ending that could have happened given
the circumstances,
The circumstances.
Also,
And the rules.
I kind of
And
want
the
to
rules.
talk about more meta, like how it's a little difficult, right, to end like an improv thing to make sure that we like all end up in this place because you're also trying to tell a story and like getting that all together. And I think the ending felt a little bit different as well because we just needed to get to a point, right? And so I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that or if anybody
Sure.
has any thoughts about that.
I mean, ending anything is really hard. I don't even know if this was all that successful.
This isn't a goodbye.
No,
It's
well,
a see you later.
yeah, but like,
Hasta la vista.
hasta la vista, baby. But yeah, like, trying to tie all of this up is very hard, and there's a lot of other loose strings and things that I'm like, yeah, it's not over. Like, there's a lot of stuff to still wrap up, and like Nikki G, for example, which you mentioned, like Chava has her, and what's going on there, and what's the deal?
Wait, is she not confirmed dead?
You haven't confirmed it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you don't know if Chava
She's
escaped
alive.
and what's going on there. And so, ending anything is hard, and it sort of felt like, to me, with this, based off of really all the stuff that happened, I think it was episode 64, was like, okay, we're not going to get this sort of clear, cathartic moment of you guys sort of beating the problems that are put forth in Janice and sort of winning that game, and then Levi getting an opportunity to get his closure with his mom and all of that, and like all of that was stripped away in a few moments. That was like, again, as a GM, I was like, well, shit, all of the stuff that I had planned, like, out the window. Like, it's not applicable anymore, and it's not usable. And so, knowing that there was going to be a season 2 made it easy to be like, okay, this is sort of just the closing of this chapter and starting of the next one. That was easy enough, but it also it felt as satisfactory as it could be, which felt a little unsatisfactory, which I think was partially the point. Now, ending the whole thing of all of these characters in this story, I have no fucking clue how that like will actually be tied up into a clear ending and what
Yeah.
that means, because it's like time goes on. There will be potentially more human beings afterwards and all that, or maybe not. Everybody dies, but like, I'm not trying to do Marvel universe ending event. That's not the point.
That's crazy.
And that's the difference between like a audio drama or a story versus like an RPG. Is like we shouldn't know the endings, you know? Like
Yeah, and it should be like, oh, a bunch of crazy rolls happened, and it changed everything in the last moment. Like, great, and let's roll with the punches.
Had Levi and Theo been able to get Talia out safely, Avelia, Talia's year, Ardi's, whatever.
I'm with you.
my family general.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
Would it had slightly been a different?
Super different. Yeah, the ending that I had was a much tighter, wrapped up ending, which would have been like the ending being that you guys all split up was like, that has to be it. Like what we did, which was you guys all being like, hey, we have our own things that we got to go and pursue, and there's very clear reasons why. I was like, that's the best technical ending that can exist. Had the people been killed, even if one of those people had survived, there would have been a sort of wrap-up sequence allowing Levi to find out what happened with his mom and all of that.
Wow.
I think
So
Theo
close.
would have left on... I still think Theo would have probably left on your own, which we had talked about, but
Yes.
it would have been
Wait, so how many people?
I would've snuck
like
away in the
like
night.
with Claybar.
Claybar, Mark Quint, your dad, and Avelia. Those were 4 different avenues to get to the same thing, and they all got cleaned, got wiped.
Dude.
Wiped. I still think Theo would have left in the way that Theo left. I don't know, like, your decision for El Capitan, Deanna, was very surprising to me, but in a wonderful way.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if you would have had that same ending.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what you would have been gunning for
Yeah.
had things worked out better for you all.
Yeah.
And then certainly Ardi would not have been captured, or maybe would have been able to be saved, somehow. Sort of the ending that I was sort of building towards was the 4 of you stay together and start to lead this rebellion. And like hey, you guys have your faction now with these people on this planet with these resources.
And then we could use the faction rules.
Precisely. And then like have it be for season 2, be like, you guys are leading this rebellion and you have a bunch of these problems for the rebellion that you have to deal with.
Maybe I'll lead a rebellion in the Imperial Empire.
You know, could be.
Maybe it could be
Fight.
no, we team up. I think we
We could.
We'll see.
We'd have to. There's a lot of things that need to happen. Before
Yeah.
I feel like
Well, that'd
we
be
end up
fun.
on the same team.
Yeah. But that was the ending that I really more or less had planned, was like, you guys lead a rebellion now, and rather than running away and trying to get all over the place, you're like, we're staying here, we're going to help take care of these people, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and make a difference and really not be reactive and be proactive about doing that. You have some allies that we've set up through all of season 1, Ghost Fox, for example, and like building that out.
It just goes to show you how like lethal Stars Without Number is as a
It's
system.
brutal.
Because I feel like that's the
yeah.
thing is like when there's a shootout, like everyone can die. very
Everyone,
quickly.
yeah, really badly.
Wait, combat's not supposed to stress you out this much in D&D?
No.
D&D's
D&D combat, you do that shit all the time.
You're
That's all you do.
serious?
Yeah. Well, that was going. We've talked about this. I've talked about this at length, but it's like,
Unless we change the rules to make it more lethal.
yeah.
Oh
But
my
I've talked about this
goodness.
at length, that I specifically chose this system over other sci-fi related game systems because the combat's so lethal that it will make it so that A, we try to avoid combat as much as possible, and B, when combat happens, it makes a huge difference in the world.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way in that firefight one of you wasn't going to get badly hurt, or somebody important wasn't going to get badly hurt. And
Yeah, so
and
much of that
obviously,
happened.
like, Levi got gunned down super badly. That changed all of Levi, but unrelated to your potential, windows into finding out what happened to your mom. Like, you getting gunned down and then experimented on by Sky, that opens up a whole new world of things. Same with Ardi getting gunned down in that previous firefight, right? Like, the combat has a big thing that's really important to me with storytelling is that combat pushes the story forward rather than just combat for combat's sake.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool, you throw a spell at this guy and then they throw a spell back and we do that for another 40 minutes. Like, and let's do that again next episode. Like, yeah, okay, who cares? No, in combat, like, you lose a limb.
Whoa.
You almost die. Your only way to be saved
Be
is
sensitive, okay?
is through nanobots changing your biochemistry. Like, that's
brilliant, though.
that was, again, like, that was why I chose this system specifically.
And while I think your ending that you had planned was like good for a different story,
Yeah.
I like that. I think it's more realistic where we ended up now.
Yeah, me too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I always try to, this is sort of a look behind the curtain of GMing, but like, I always try to have an idea of where I want it to go, but I'm unbelievably willing to let that all dissipate and disappear. And often that does. And I agree completely that I think this ending was right for the story and for the characters, and now it opens up a whole new world of things rather than just like, okay, you guys are still together and you're going to go to this planet because you need to get food for your people. And there's a evil sheriff there that's not letting food go out of the planet, whatever it may be. And like, that's totally exciting and fun, but it feels played out before, I guess.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, okay, what are each of you doing individually? We've mentioned this, like, what's the call to action that would bring you all together, if that even exists? And I think we still get to have some level of this, like, rebellion thing, which I think you're excited about in a different way. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with this whole religious thing. Whether you continue on as Theo or not, like, really curious about what happens there. And then what I'm super excited selfishly about with Ardi going back towards his home planet is, like, you all have not spent any time on any of the big central systems and central planets, and like, what the fuck is it like on the Imperial Empire's main planet on the main family?
That's terrifying.
What is that like?
I feel like I'm very curious how it feels to just be on that planet, because I think I've been surprised at how like connected some of these like Martian conglomerate planets are with just like having strong law enforcement and like security cameras and like being very like cyberpunky, like big state sort of thing. And the Empire has to be that on crack.
Yeah,
precisely.
Yeah,
like the Empire has to be like full 1984.
Which like,
Oof.
well, we're kind of going to start drifting into the whole story, but like, you guys started with the Free Planet Alliance, which those various planets didn't have that. It was relatively, I say in quotes, low tech. And then you move to Martian Conglomerate, and they're a lot harsher about that stuff, and they have a lot more systems in place to keep control of the people. And then exactly what you're saying, like it's going to be intense when you get back and what that means. And getting the thing that I'm really excited about also for season 2, because you're all split up, is how much more of this world we get to explore.
Like I'm gonna play Ardi's dad.
Yeah. No.
Just in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains so much about
Do you
Ardi.
have the Stars Without Number book?
Yeah.
Can I read it?
Right now.
Right now.
Well, I'm gonna look at something in it. Yeah, I'm curious about something. Yeah.
Yeah, how much does like the world that we play in differ from like the lore of? Because Stars Without Number has its own.
The way that Stars Without Number is built out is humanity had explored the stars and had taken over all of the Milky Way galaxy and other galaxies. As we do. And then for some reason related to faster than light travel, there was people starting to get psionic powers, and there's a whole bunch of problems with people that have psionic powers, and there's a whole mechanic system for all the different types of magic basically those characters are able to do. And then at some point, and no one knows why or how, there was a scream that happened, which is called the Scream in the lore of Stars Without Number, that fractured humanity. And so basically GMs are then like, hey, in this larger lore, there was the Scream and this stuff happened, and there's some psionics and they're really rare now, but like in Mathew's own little section of this galaxy that Kevin Crawford created, like that's our story's happening. And then, some other GM somewhere else playing Stars Without Number, it's all in that same lore system, if you will, but after the Scream. And so obviously it was like, I'm going to make our own version of that. And that's why I put the Scream in at the end of, a bit of a callback to that and an homage to that.
Easter egg.
Because I was like, that's awesome. That's really cool. And I wanted to make my own version of that and, steal from that. But the lore is that's more or less what it is. I'm sure I missed a whole bunch, but yeah.
All right. Anything else to wrap up on the last 2 episodes and the ending?
I don't know. I want to wrap up on the whole
You wanna
show
get to
as
that?
a whole.
How about listening to the sounds of Istanbul? Beautiful, isn't it? But you can't discover the coolest city in the world just by listening. Check Istanbul.goturkiye.com now and plan your Istanbul trip today.
Making everyone happy on vacation isn't easy. But you know what is? Going to Aruba. All you have to do is walk out your door to find pristine pools, relaxing white sand beaches, and an island teeming with outdoor activities that'll put a smile on any face. You won't just feel great, you'll all feel great, filled with a calmer, more peaceful vibe that radiates Aruba's warmth. And the best part is, it never fades. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your family trip at Aruba.com.
Let's do it. Whole season.
Let's
talk
do
about
it. Yeah. So, take us back. Now that you guys have gone through this whole arc, how do you feel about how the show opened up?
In prison.
In
Yeah,
prison, mining
Survivors
asteroids.
Of the Tartarus. Yeah. Mining ice.
If
Hell
only
yeah.
you knew then what you know now.
Well, I feel like it was a real quick, tonal learning thing. So I didn't realize how gritty the show was going to be until that episode. It was a little like, oh, this is gritty.
Because I almost died. Did you almost die, Drew?
I don't remember.
I feel like
You got gunned down for sure. I think
Yeah.
maybe El Capitan got knocked out. I don't know precisely what it was.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I
they
remember
knocked
2 of
out.
us got fucked up in that first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was also on purpose, right? Like, it was like, hey, let's make sure everyone's on the same page of what world and story and tone it's trying to be created here.
Yeah.
And that was, yeah.
That feels so long ago.
It
Also,
is.
what a learning episode that was.
Yeah.
So huge, was like, okay, now I know what not to do and what to do. And we changed so much throughout the season and got so much quicker with it, and I don't know, immersed in our world, and so many improvements. I'm happy for us.
We did good. You know, after 66 episodes, we did so.
We
We
did
did
good.
We got better.
We got better.
Sure.
I
We got
wasn't
better.
taking as many 20-minute pauses
By
there
the
at the
end.
end there.
Yeah, you just started
So-
asking questions.
And
It was
then
great.
did the audience
getting
not
there.
know that because Drew edits them out? So
That's right. I did a lot editing those first episodes, and I think I might have over-edited it too. It's just like I was so concerned about like how people would listen and think about the show, which I'm a lot less concerned now. 'cause
Well,
now
you
I
said
kinda
you went
just-
back and re-listened to it, and it wasn't as bad as.
It wasn't as bad as I had made it up in my head. To be. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've all made it up in our head. It's like it's the
Yeah.
first episode we did. I fucking sucked, you know.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is fun to listen to.
I mean, we do get cleaner.
well, it's also
Yeah.
like we did like 4 different like combat sections in those first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
Which I think was like so. It's kind of like exactly what Matt was just saying about like, oh, combat. We don't like to do that. Make it like really smart, sharp, and important. And I feel like that episode we weren't at that level that we got to eventually in respecting how combat is like this rare thing. We've like kind of learned that better now. And in those episodes, it was very like out of the frying pan and into another combat, into another combat, into another combat. We rolled for initiative like 4 times.
Something, yeah.
Oh my.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was
And
a
then we
bunch.
rolled for initiative like 4 times in the rest of the series.
Yeah.
You know, like
Truly.
Yeah, front loaded it a lot.
I know we're kind of like jumping ahead, but I'm really curious to know what your guys' like favorite episodes are, or like sections.
Oh, favorite, like,
of
arcs?
Oh, for
arcs,
Yeah,
or,
that was my question too. It was like
okay.
favorite arc or favorite planet or
Yeah.
moment. Not moments, but larger pieces.
I think I mean, I'm going back to like the, beginning, but like Theo definitely didn't have a purpose. Like she was in jail for a crime she didn't even commit. Like she was so okay with just following and just like being a wallflower and like just getting through life. Being with you guys like totally gave her like a purpose, like like this is the world I'm in, this is what's happening, like and now we gotta do something about it.
My favorite arc for you, even though I know you said that it's being with the group that gave you a purpose, but it was when you were off making your music, because that is
On the
who
ship,
Theo is.
yeah.
And that was so sick. Like, I was so jealous. I was like, I want to make music.
Was that Hera?
yeah, no, that was
No.
It
Janice.
was Janice.
Janice.
It was the beginning of Janice.
Before we
Oh.
came, because I didn't want to go on Janice at first.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking the Winnick stuff. But yeah.
That was
I
Harry,
thought
yeah.
the Winnick stuff was pretty
Oh,
sweet.
that was
That was
sweet.
pretty good.
Yeah.
that was pretty
That
good.
was sick.
I think Hera was probably the best. Like just sort of from a technical standpoint, and then exciting stuff happening.
We had
and-
we had so many ideas. We were so hopeful on Hera.
Yeah.
Like we were
Yeah.
so like
Things
we're
were
gonna
looking up.
upgrade
Yeah.
the ship. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna go
Yeah.
do this stuff.
Yeah, well, Hera was cool functionally because it was like, hey, you have a week. What do you want to do?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
It felt a
Go-
lot more open world than like a lot of.
Yeah, then especially Janice, which
Oh, wait, it was
tightening
on-
it up, but
Wait, Hera was where the race actually happened,
Yeah.
right?
it was supposed to too.
So
yeah.
that's when I went to that one place and I just sat, and I wrote, okay, yeah. There's a lot happened on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just did
you
some
wrote
like
a song.
park bench songs.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just alone.
Uh-huh.
It was,
Yeah.
I bought these boys some deodorant. Right,
Yeah.
went on our shopping
It was
trip.
very like fantasy playing, like in like not
Yeah.
like fantasy setting, but like kind of like, oh, what would you do on a fun
Yeah.
planet?
World
like, world
exploring, yeah.
exploring, yeah.
Gamble.
RPing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And it just
Oh,
got
yeah.
so it
No.
got so crazy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back, which is also again looking back towards the beginning. What do you think on Gats?
I
now
was
that
just
it's
gonna
been
say-
so far removed from.
Gats
that
feels really
particular
good. I
part.
really liked Gats a lot. Well, I mean, but like I know, like maybe for
I don't
Ardi
like
and Pete,
Gats.
I wonder why. No, but I felt like that.
Yeah.
Just I enjoyed the structure of that, and I liked the climax of it was particularly a
The
lot of
fucking
fun for
lizard?
that. The lizard, yeah.
Lizard was pretty sweet. That was a pretty fun set
Sweet for
piece.
who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
sweet for who? I mean, I could have died,
No,
but
you didn't.
I didn't.
It felt like the most like classic RPG adventure that we did, like that we did. Like it was very like go out and explore the ruins and like collect
Yeah.
things and
Here's
like
the quest from the local
get a
quest
cool
giver.
item
Yeah.
like a floaty backpack,
Yeah.
you know, and like
Which is
here's some
so-
tools that you have, like
Yeah.
go find it.
That's really interesting because that was like my first, I guess, real like intro to campaigning. Right?
Yeah,
because
kinda like
we'd
the
only done the
adventure.
one shots before, so
Yeah.
this was me really figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because we went obviously Tartarus, which was real quick, Gats, and then Puto, which was supposed to be a little bit longer, and then was cut very short.
Puto.
And then
So I was like, I gotta
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Like,
Deanna
never
just
mind.
noped out of
Yeah,
Pluto.
she was like, never mind. And then Hera, where everything went crazy, and then finally with Janice.
You guys, what happened to the cat?
Oh.
On the ship.
He's on the ship. Tintin's on the ship.
And you're telling me that Tintin is the only person who stayed with me?
Oh, that's right.
Tintin
yeah.
and your weed plant, bro.
And my weed plan, and that's all
Yeah.
I have. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I think my favorite episode to play was the nightclub episode on Puto.
I
Oh,
forget
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I remember that so vividly because you guys have made me freaking walk up to that man, like drop my phone into his thing, and then we were like, oh, we could just track his taxi? Oh, cool. So I did all of that for no fucking reason? Cool.
That was like 2/3 of the session too.
Yeah.
Convincing you to do it, and then like
It was so pedantic.
Yeah.
It was
Let
so
you run
funny.
with it. Yeah, that
That's
was fun.
hilarious.
But yeah, then like the fumble, like that like the El Capitan like invincibility, like fucking like
Oh my God.
chaos buff came in too,
So
where it's like
crazy.
literally gun to your fucking head and then just shoot themselves.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, that's the first
That was
like,
Hera.
real instance. No, it happened on Puto too.
Oh, did it
in
happen
the
on Puto,
club
too?
when they like ran up?
Oh, yeah.
The only
Come
time
on.
there was ever a
Come
gun
on.
fired in the club
Yes,
was at
yes.
El Capitan, and they just
Yes.
shot themselves.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, and then I feel like there's like this like, what are you guys doing here? And we're just like, kinda like yeah, well, the guy just shot himself.
The guy
Like,
shot himself.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I guess you guys are the victims here.
all right. Like,
Yeah, oh, moving right along.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are merely pedestrians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of times I almost died is crazy.
Your rolling skills are
Infuriating.
crazy.
Yeah, they're pretty
Not
bad.
at the end. I fumbled
Throughout
really
the whole
hard.
fucking thing. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I was for sure that El Capitan was gonna die at
Yeah.
Hera. I was like, she's gonna die. It's gonna change the whole group dynamic. She's gonna have
Yeah.
to make a new character. We're gonna have to figure that out. Like I was ready for that. And then that one.
Insane.
I rolled that one. I was like, oh.
The power
God.
of chaos is with me.
It is. It is.
Was it the
Yes, it
power
is.
of chaos or was it our Lord and Savior Sky?
Oh,
The whole time.
Oh.
I mean, isn't Sky kind of the antithesis to chaos though?
Yeah, she's order.
Yeah.
That's
man.
but her most adamant follower is chaos. How interesting.
How interesting.
How interesting. How interesting.
Oh, I'm gonna bring it back again because we were talking about full circle kind of moments, and it's interesting that like Calix's ship was the one that was attacking us on,
Yeah.
and then
Became
And
our
then-
prize ship.
and then
And then you left it on
Calix.
the. The Calix moment was that was I thought a pretty spectacular moment at the table for
Yeah.
sure.
I feel like
Really
he was
bouncing us
just
on
being
Hera again.
introduced as like
Yeah.
a character, and
Yeah.
then it, like
Yeah.
Calix was just being introduced.
I think
as,
he's
like,
gonna be like a member of the crew.
no,
Yeah.
literally,
Yes,
that's
yes.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was just.
I was
at
like,
that.
the group needs a combat guy. Like
Yeah.
who can do that and
This
like
is
help take
him.
care
I
of
was
that.
like excited to like do like the whole like
100%.
rekindling a brotherly
Yes,
bond, like
yes.
figure out what it actually means to be family with someone in my family when I've never had a close connection with like hardly anyone in my
Yeah.
family.
Yes,
you know, it
that
like
was
this
the whole plan.
I'm
That
like,
was-
what a great emotional
Yes.
like relationship arc
Yeah.
to
Yes.
explore. Something like small and grounded, which is kind of more fun for me, I think, as a as a player to like dig into that versus like the big political scene and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever talk about that?
Talk about what?
Ever? We never. We kind of talked
Oh,
about it, and
about
it was
Calix
very
stuff and how it's
like.
affecting me? Well, I haven't had time to process it.
I
yet.
know. Are you gonna process any of these things that have happened to you?
I don't know.
Well, you didn't even go to sleep that one point. You just worked through the whole night. We
Yeah.
were like, maybe you should get some sleep, and you're like, no,
No,
I'm
I'm
totally
good.
fine. We're like,
Yeah.
I don't think you are, but like, okay.
Well, I honestly have had probably like one night of sleep since
the whole entire
since
night.
like Calix
God.
got
Yeah.
shot. You
Yeah.
know, like it's like been like as much as it's like kind of feels like it was halfway through our series. If you look at the timeline, like it's
Yeah, how
No, it's
far
pretty
was
recent.
Calix's death to like the end
couple
of the
weeks.
season?
Was he
Is it a
on-
couple weeks?
not even.
What
Yeah.
planet? Because he
Yeah, I
was
mean,
on
do you
Hera.
want to do the
Hera.
math? We can always do
Hera.
the math. It's
Yeah.
very fun.
Yeah, it's only like 6 months the whole arc. or
Yeah,
something
because
that.
like after Calix died, we left out of Hera like that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spent like one night over on the space station, and then we were at
Oh yeah, I forget about the
Janice.
space.
Well, we did.
Yeah, we did that
Rhaegar, yeah.
crossover episode on the space station. That's
Yeah.
right.
Which was
October.
actually
Yeah.
a brilliant little thing in its own.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that.
And then we're at Janice. I think we spent about 2 nights there before we like figured out how to do the dating stuff.
Yeah.
The dating stuff happened. Your camel sweatshirt, which you're still wearing, by the way.
I am.
The dating
like how you
stuff
look
happened
down.
that night. Ended up being into like the craziness in
Jesus.
Facey's lab, which led us down to trying to escape, which led us into the mines, which led us into the mission, which gave the one night where I stayed up working all night, which led us into the final day.
You're
So it's
telling
been
me that
5 nights.
That's insane.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
5 nights since my brother died.
No wonder you want to kill yourself.
So no, I haven't processed the death of my brother in 5 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I had 5 nights off, I wouldn't process
Yeah.
it. You know,
No.
like
Yeah.
Wow.
Calyx dying, I think, was really a moment for everyone at the table of just like,
That was the big midpoint twist.
fuck.
Yeah.
Like
Midpoint
that was
reversal.
another one of those moments. I was like, well, throw that all out. Like, damn it. Like,
combat, man.
Sorry.
He
But
just got,
that's
like,
what I
bopped. He got
love about
fucking
the
grabbed.
game. Like it really, like how you roll. Just like there's the story. There's each of our own personal like agendas. There's your agenda. There's the world itself, and then there's whatever happens on the table. Like it just is what it is, and you can't change it.
yeah, we talked about this in one of the like pre-game question things of just about this idea of or maybe it was a ship talking, but this idea of consequences and
Yeah.
how real those have been throughout this whole thing. I think that's really been, crucial to the vibes at the table of like, yeah, everything we do, even if we're joking around, is going to be really serious and
for sure.
Yeah.
make an effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, another question, I guess.
Well, I want to talk about,
Oh, yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
one of, like, going back again now,
Yeah.
to just after we got off Gats, one of my favorite arcs was just, like, the little hanging out in the ship.
Yeah.
I feel like just
Yeah.
kind of getting, like, 2 or 3 sessions to just, like, chill out in the ship and, like, actually talk to each other
Get
for the
to know
first
each
time,
other,
get to
yeah.
know each other.
Yeah.
I feel like that, like, was so helpful for just going forward when we're doing things together, that we have, like, point of views about each other.
Yeah, built our
for
banter.
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not just saving each other's lives. We're talking to each other as people and hanging
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Like, becoming
And
friends.
smoking
Yeah.
weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
Food
guys
fight.
remind me what? Oh, is that when we had our candy fight? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Well, that was after. I
That
thought
was
that was the next
later
one.
because that's when you guys like were listening to my music and I stormed out.
oh yeah.
But
yeah,
then
yeah.
we had the pre-prepped meals and I was like, we should eat. We were going handing
That
out.
was the
everybody-
eating. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the eating thing. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
okay. I
It's
don't
like, "Are you
remember
hungry?
bonding.
Are you hungry?"
I don't remember
never
this
did.
bonding.
Yeah.
That's because you were
Because I was
blazed
high on
out
my
your
mind.
mind. First you have to say.
Well, that was a really interesting dynamic shift for El Capitan that you were like,
Oh,
I'm gonna let the
sobriety.
dice decide, and then I'm gonna be really. And it was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
really serious. I'm not smoking anymore. And then
Yep.
like you as a player, you Deanna started being like, okay, I'm really paying attention to what's going on right
Yeah.
now, rather than like, yeah, I'm having fun and playing whatever the fuck happens,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
make
yeah.
chaotic decisions because it's silly and fun, and that's sort of what El Capitan is. And it's like distinct shift, and then like, I'm very curious for season 2 of like, what might break you to go back to that if that ever happens.
The duality
and
of
then
man.
like
Well, that's what the
what discovery
consequences you were
comes.
talking about. Like, it
Yeah.
hit you in the face, and then you were like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think that came from like first discovering what we were doing together as a group, because
Right.
I think I came in at with a specific idea of like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, silly fun game, like I'm just
Right.
silly fun player. And then I still had a fun time being that player within your world
For
because
sure.
it's such a contrast. But then also like, yeah, like you said, reality. So I have to like sink into it.
Yeah, well, I think. Sorry, to
No,
read
that's
the
it.
point. I think it was Levi that this happened with first. Maybe it was Theo, but we did a thing where it was like mental saving throw, and then that puts you into a spiral, right? Like if you fail, it goes into a spiral, and that changes your character. And I really liked just that mechanic. Like that's very fun, and I liked how you were like, yeah, I want to take that mechanic and roll with it and see what happens, and then making it be real distinct.
I think the Hera arc, I did like 6 or 7 mental saving throws over the course of like.
And
2
you
or
were like
3
passing him
sessions.
like a
Yeah, you
badass.
were like-
yeah, you were like
Crazy.
locked in. Like I'm good.
When I needed it most.
You
Yeah.
should have rolled a mental saving throw when you like woke up, and you would have been like, you would have succeeded and just been like, oh hey guys, thanks for helping me out here. What needs done now? For
Yeah. My mom or my dad, my cousin dead. Doesn't fucking matter. I'm gonna bottle up my emotions and then just go about my day.
That's what Ardi does.
It worked out great.
Hey, I'm not dead.
You're not dead.
Dang.
Maybe I wish I was.
Oh wow.
So looks like it's working out better for me than you.
You're gonna say something.
I kind of have a question because I'm thinking now, I remember it was right before I lost my arm. So it was at least episode 8 or 7 where I had the flashback, right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was so vivid for me, especially. But I remember at the time, you guys all left the room.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to know backstory. And I loved that choice, but like, would you still make that choice now? I feel like is my question.
Not with these characters, I think.
No, right?
But I think like if there were new characters, I'd be interested.
Interesting. Interesting.
Because I feel like I kind of know Theo's backstory now, like as a player and as a character.
It's been all the backstories have been dripped out enough. I feel like
Nice.
That like there's nothing that I don't feel like I need to play. I don't have to pretend not to know things as hard.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Yeah.
Who else had a flashy?
I think I'm the only one that didn't have one.
I had planned for, had not all 4 of your potential links to your mom been iced, I had a whole flashback thing prepped for that.
Oh,
and
shit.
I had shout out to my buddy Josh, but like he and I
Shout out,
had
Josh.
talked about it with him and been like, I want to try and do this. This is the idea I'm having. We sort of crafted it, and it was. I guess I can tell you. Actually, now I can tell you. I can let you know.
Curious.
It was going to be when you were a young kid. You were with your dad, and there was you were eating at a restaurant, and a Granathi woman was serving you, and like you gave her a dirty look, and he was like, "No, just because they're different doesn't mean you treat them differently." And then there was going to be a whole.
My dad
riot
told
thing.
me that?
Yeah, at the time, and then it was going to.
Was this before my mom got killed? Okay.
Yes.
That makes
it
more
was before your
sense.
mom got killed. And then it was going to be, there was a whole revolt thing of murders going on and all of that, or the killings happening at the time, and you watching it and how, like, seeing your dad be one way before and then knowing that you had said, like, yeah, mom dying caused him to change, like, seeing that before and then being like, he was a human, like, a person with a good heart back then, and then
that's super interesting.
Trying to build into this idea of sort of saving your father kind of thing, or trying to maybe redeem him in some respect. And, like, now when you obviously said, you were like, yeah, I would kill my dad. And then being like, okay, we're going to have a flashback moment of, like, when he was a good guy initially.
And then have that fight with him.
And then have that. That was the idea. That was what I was going for.
That would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
Sorry I killed your dad.
It's okay, Ardi.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's resolved.
It's okay. I don't even have a dad.
You can kill mine if you want.
Yeah, honestly, I think Levi would probably kill your dad. Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah.
His parents.
Any other thoughts for going back or next
Any other arcs we didn't really touch on?
We've covered most of them. A little more recently, the start of Janice with Dr. Facey.
Oh, yeah.
How do you guys feel about learning
I
what
was very
up
excited
there?
to learn the nanobots thing.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah. That whole boss fight was very fun. That was a good one.
Facey's lab, something about it.
The elevator.
Something about that whole episode.
The elevator episode.
That's maybe my favorite episode.
I was just gonna say that episode is a work of art because like the entire episode in gameplay is like 2 minutes. It's literally like
there's
2 minutes.
There's like a classic name for that is like the 5 foot episode where it's like you don't go further than 5 feet from the start of the episode on your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
well, we went about 70 feet.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's like, all right, I grab hands.
We went a lot of feet.
I grab hands with everyone and I teleport through the wall. Okay, you start falling. You all go into free fall. Like
I love how quick we were with our decisions in the episode.
Yeah.
Like we were on it. I, you know, re-lost my arm trying to save the homie.
Lost a foot.
You lost your foot. He lost his legs again.
Yeah.
Again.
That was
already.
great.
I've had like 3 different iterations of those legs now, and they just like as soon as I make it, like the next session, they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Locked in.
Hopefully not anymore.
Yeah, I thought Dr. Facey's lab, that was one of the only things that I had prepped beforehand, and we actually did what I had written out before.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, I was like, okay, good, this worked. Like,
Nice.
But getting into that building was fucking horrendous with Smelda.
Oh,
what
the
about
date
Smelda?
sequences.
What
Oh my
about
God.
Smelda?
We'll never know.
I need to figure out.
Don't worry. Well, if we're continuing with Levi's story, she's
Oh
still
no,
there.
she's still there. She's still
yeah.
there. But like, yeah, what's that relationship gonna be like? Because we can't really leave each other now. Like,
Nope.
we're kind of literally in a fucking cave together.
Classic man, right?
Yeah.
Can't leave her now.
Can't leave me now. We're here together in this cave.
Actually crazy.
Oh man, that was so fun, honestly.
Oh,
Like,
the
the
date
dating
sequence
stuff.
was
The dating
awesome.
stuff was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. I feel like
Irv. Yeah.
for Levi that felt really nice to do too because it was also something that wasn't super political or super
Yeah, a little more
bigger. It was more
Yeah.
grounded and I don't know because I felt like for like just Levi's overall art kind of thing, it was like, oh yeah, a lot of it was about him finding those moments where it's like, oh, like here's where
I know it's like the whole like Gladys arc too, like the whole thing on like hair.
Yeah.
It's like like
Gladys
yeah, like
and
what do
you.
I, like
That was
what's my personality? What do I do when I don't
Yeah.
have anything to do? When
That
I don't have
was
like
so
a big
funny.
goal kind of.
I liked that a lot as a little character development moment of like, you have nothing to do. And you and I remember I said that and you were like, fuck, what do I do? Wait, what?
Oh yeah, because we dipped out so quickly, and he was
Yeah.
like, "I know, I want to go do this," and you were like,
Yeah, it's like, Ardi, you want to do
Yeah.
something? And you're like, well, I'm just gonna go do this. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, well, you can come with me if you
Like, no,
want.
it's fine.
Oh,
It's
okay,
fine.
if you don't want to come with me, that's fine too. Like, just
Levi turned into
literally,
Sam.
literally happy to have you come along, but not
Yeah.
communicating.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, the
so funny.
miscommunication was really funny.
Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of Gladys, that's like the best way we used the floaty backpack was on Gladys.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
up the stairs or down the stairs?
Whatever it
I don't know.
was, yeah,
It's
to
like-
get out of that whole
Yeah,
race.
I operated like
When
a
you
fucking RC car.
called her like a bajillion times after she never
Oh, yeah.
answered.
Well, she was, I just wanted to hear the voicemail.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
You know what I think is funny is that like we went to y'all's planets, right? Or well, not yours, but like we learned you're a significant part of the story. My
you.
backstory is like dispersed throughout. We're like, oh, there's that manager. We don't talk to him.
Well, you're so
And here we
cagey.
go.
though.
Yeah.
Like
That
you're
was how
like,
you played
you're
it,
like,
bro.
oh, someone from my planet is here. Well, I'm not going to talk to them, or if I am, I'm going to sneak off and see them by myself and then not tell anyone.
Yeah,
what
but I
happened.
like that.
Well, I will-
like
You
that.
can do
Yeah.
that. You just can't say we didn't explore it.
Yeah.
No,
She wasn't
I didn't say that.
All right, that's
I
fair.
will say there was that moment when you had the sky hologram face thing where you
Oh,
talked
yeah.
with Rothko. That moment
Oh.
in Winnick's shop, that was fucking sweet.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was pretty cool.
I want to kill that man. So
Yeah.
bad.
Could be your call to
Season
action.
2 arc, baby.
Yeah, it could be the call to action.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I
That'd
have
be
thoughts.
pretty badass. Like a
Yeah.
arc with like Theo's rock band goes on like a hit to Rothko.
Could be. Could do. We'll see. We'll see.
Watch me and that one guy become best friends.
Alex
Hart.
The way that you guys know his name, like you're
His
fans
music's
of him
great,
or something.
dude.
Ardi
Great.
is.
That's
Ardi is.
actually
I'm a fan of
crazy.
you too. I think your music's better, but his music's still good.
He's got more of it, you know? It's like, yeah.
I'm done.
Just depends on my mood.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right.
Theo out.
What about you, Nikki? What was your favorite arc?
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
don't make me do that.
Hop
Producer picks. Nikki, who's your favorite character?
Who do you love the most?
I love them all. I really like Gats, and I also really like the elevator doctor face.
Wait, I'm
Yeah.
so interested. Why you like Gats?
I just feel like it's like where the story like clicked in.
Oh,
you had
yeah.
like those action scene. Like I love the like. We are the looters. We're here to save you. Like announcement over the
horrible.
Speaking of
town.
20-minute pauses.
Yeah.
Listen,
Right.
and then when I
It's
finally
beautiful.
said it, it was an Australian accent.
You said,
We're
"Stop."
the looters.
We are the Lulas.
We're the looters.
We're the looters.
That was
Yeah.
for sure Australian. That's a good point.
It was,
I just have
it was
a
good fun.
Yeah,
mental
Gats was
block with
definitely
good
the most like
Gats.
traditional TTRPG type of story and arcing out that way.
It dropped us in though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
that day that it happened, I was like sitting. You have a photo, I'm pretty sure. I was like on the
Oh,
floor
yeah,
crying,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
shit
you
was
got,
dropped
you got
in.
like
Yeah.
affected
Fucked up.
hard.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, it's also
yeah.
when we found out about Ardi's teleportation too, if I'm correct.
No one found out about
No, because
No.
you chose not to
We
teleport during the
know.
explosion.
it. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
knew.
Well, yeah, like as the players.
But the
yeah.
characters-
Like, yeah. Where it's like, it's like
yeah,
the.
yeah. Oh,
No,
that
it was
fun.
before. Because
It was on the ship with
on the ship
Alistair.
when we were fixing it, and I did it in front of Alistair.
It's when you lost your legs.
No, it would have been when you lost
No,
your
no, no.
legs.
No,
You
because
did
didn't
it the
teleport.
first time
I
on the
didn't teleport
speeder,
mine.
no?
Yeah.
I did it on the speeder, but I believe before that happened, and like
Oh,
our
yes, you're right.
third
With
or fourth
Alistair.
session,
Alistair
Yeah.
saw it.
Alistair
you're right.
saw it.
But
Yeah.
he didn't even
know
say
what
anything.
happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Airlock issue. Yeah.
Airlock issue. I was like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
expecting to even use that ability that early in our game too, but
Yeah.
it was
Wow.
like,
So right, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and then losing your ability, which you then said, I didn't realize how much I liked the ability.
well, it's like you lose the ability to teleport, and then you're immediately put in
Oh,
like
yeah.
an impenetrable cage,
Well-
and you're like, yeah,
Fuck.
that was nice.
Yeah,
Let's
that would
be
have helped.
real.
That would have been useful.
The amount of times that your ability saved our actual ass,
Yeah.
like we would have died so long.
Like on like
ago.
the Janice stuff in particular, like
Yeah.
when we were like running
Okay,
away from
teleport
Dr.
to
Face's
there.
lab, we're
Okay,
like,
teleport
okay,
there.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sewers.
Sewers up, down.
Well, it's
left,
fun
right.
too because it's like it's just fun to have the arc of me I feel like I really enjoyed how it's like I really didn't want anyone to know that I teleported or doing anyone. I didn't want the players to know, and I'm like, okay, well, this is the moment that has to happen. And then like I didn't want to use it ever because I didn't know like how it's happened. To like by the end of it, like before I lose the ability, I'm just like, should I teleport over there? Boom.
Yeah.
Go over there. Boom. Okay, I'll teleport. Boom.
And then you communicating to Sky in there too, like within that
That was
weird
a
little
sweet moment.
blip. Like
Hanging
there's
out.
so much that I don't understand about it. But that's awesome.
Would Theo and El Capitan ever want to get nanobots?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
I'm an
You fucking
internet.
would, yeah. You make a whole point about that.
But
I
it is.
think
I
no.
think I had said once. I had this thought of like, oh, like I'm the only one who doesn't have it,
Yeah.
and like, this unethical thought of like, well, I want it too, you know. But it's like you do lose
missing
those-
limb, is that what
yeah,
you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a missing limb, but it's like not right. Like these people like.
We have no choice.
You have no
right?
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh,
Ripped from-
that's so interesting because I do feel like there will be some people in the future when this is real
Sure.
that will like
If we
get
make it that far.
Well, there is,
Yeah, right.
isn't there? Like the technologists.
Oh, yeah.
Purposely replace.
No,
their
she's
body
meaning in the
parts.
real world,
In the
like in
real
our
world.
real world.
Oh,
like, when
I
you're able
was
to
like, that
replace
does
body parts
exist.
But I also
with
agree
eyes
that there is people in the real world that do elective, cybernetic stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
I
yeah.
think that people are vain and stupid and like they'd be like, well, I want this cool thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something we'll explore in season 2, but just like the technologists and the elective cybernetic enhancements.
We never really got
like,
in because there's
Never
that
got
whole
to
thing
them.
when I hacked in that fucking guy's brain.
Yeah.
And there, like, we found out about like the ship and what planet was it? It was
Hercules something.
y-
Herculean
yeah,
or something.
But like, so
system,
there's
yeah.
some big secret on there. Where I'm like, oh, we'll loop back around to this, and then we
Never
just
Where the ship
happened.
came from.
Where the
yeah.
ship came
Yeah.
from. Yep.
and the
Sky
technologist
came
like
from.
hideout or I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, if El Capitan, is presented with the opportunity to get an implant, what's it going to be? What would your technology superpower be?
Thought eyes.
What the fuck?
That'd be so cool. I
No,
thought
she
eyes.
thought eyes.
I thought
She
eyes.
thought she would get eyes.
I thought I would get eyes. Wait, what?
Wait,
If
what do you
she
mean?
got
She's
an
saying-
elective
yeah.
procedure,
Uh-huh.
she would choose her eyes.
Oh, okay.
Is what
to
she's
do
saying.
to do.
To do cybernetic
Yeah.
enhancement to her
Okay,
eyes.
and then like so you could do what with your eyes?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just 'cause
I don't
they
know.
look
I
fucking
think eyes.
rad.
I
Maybe
thought
pass
that,
all
like,
those perception checks?
Perception or like.
They would probably be
um,
like 3D, X-ray, see-through.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, there you go.
light
That's what I want. That's what I'm
detective,
asking.
Like see in the
Yeah.
dark.
I'm not
like,
the asshole here. I'm asking a question.
You can have a heads-up display
if
while
they're
you're
bionic
racing.
eyes, they can do it all.
Yeah.
Right?
Lasers.
Well, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Whoa.
Laser eyes is completely different than bionic
That
eyes.
is a weapon, okay? They don't just offer that to, citizens. Maybe they
Just
do,
like
actually, I don't
scope
know.
for your own shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Thinking the racing, you just have like a little imaginary car that you're following along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want Mario Kart in
Mario
my
Kart.
visions at all times.
El Capitan just goes full veg mode. It wasn't actually a weed addiction. It's just a Mario Kart addiction.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
great.
Well, it's
Mario
actually
Kart
just
on your
like the
head.
end of Speed Racer when he's chasing the ghost of his brother's
Why
car.
Speed
That's you and your
Racer?
brother.
The way that we bring this back to Speed Racer, I fell asleep, okay?
Yeah,
I was
that's
asleep.
your
on
loss.
you.
Your loss.
I was...
You missed some
We
cinema.
stayed up for the whole movie, and you didn't.
All 2.5 hours of it.
Listen, okay, I know you
Nice-
woke
nice
up at 3
short
a.m.
pick.
today, but I wake up at 3
You're
a.m. every
welcome.
day.
That's on you.
That's... You're an asshole. You're a bitch.
I love
All right, what
that.
next, Nikki?
All
I
right.
love Lola.
Well, let's start wrapping this up. So you guys have talked a little bit about season 2. What else do we want to give away at this point?
I don't know what we want to give
Given
away.
so much.
I mean, we
know.
don't. Honestly, I don't think we have much more to give away.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's all up in the air still.
My big question for myself is if I'm gonna bring back Theo,
Yeah.
or if I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring somebody else into the fold.
Well, something that I do want to talk about that we haven't, which is more technical, is that now we will have video and what that will look like.
Yeah.
Hella spoiler, y'all. Get
Yeah.
ready for
Yeah.
it.
This is the big video announcement.
Yeah.
From now on, we will no longer be an audio podcast. We will be a video podcast.
And if you thought we were interesting before, get the F ready.
Yeah.
When you
And
see
if you thought
those
we
dumbass
weren't
faces.
interesting before, now we
Hopefully we'll
will be.
convince you.
Now,
Yeah.
listen, good luck taking your eyes off of this train wreck, okay?
Hey, people have requested, it's not just our
That's
vanity.
true. When I tell people about it, they're like, where can I watch it? And I'm like, it's literally a podcast. I don't know.
People in my
We're
gym
gonna
are like,
watch
we're going
it.
to do a watching party of your first episode of video. I'm like, you really do not have to do that.
Yeah.
And for each Patreon subscriber we get, I take off an article.
Watch us.
Hey,
you know
said
what?
it.
If
You
it
said
blows
it.
up, 100 new subscribers, what are you taking off?
Oh
Raunchy
man,
calendar,
my skin.
baby.
There it is. That was the correct
He's gonna
answer.
replace his eyes with cybernetic.
That was the correct answer.
He's just gonna come in with the first episode with like 60 layers of clothing, like a snowman.
Can we turn on the AC, Drew?
It gets so bad he starts to pull out hair.
Oh God. This is.
I just wanted to share that, like, what it means is that we've actually built out a studio. And
Melinda built out.
Melinda built most of it.
Butch Princess panel.
But you guys, we did the desk together, and they built these shelves and everything else.
As
the
per
light
usual,
fixtures.
mostly Drew and Nikki did all of the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a sick place, and we're really enjoying it, and we've got a little bit more work to do. And we have a camera set up, and we did a test session where we ran a game on camera, janky as hell because it was our first time doing it, and it came out pretty good. And it's like, ooh, we could improve on this and make it even better.
For the worst that it could possibly be, it was really
pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty solid.
You guys will probably see some little clips of that
that's
on
right.
social
On
media.
the group.
Little preview.
Anna's gonna
A
steal
preview
footage
of the
from
train
me.
wreck I was talking about. It's
Exactly.
really fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
But I also think that for our people who like to listen to podcasts and not necessarily video, we are trying to like also.
There will also be an audio.
Yeah, it'll
Audio.
still,
Yeah,
it'll still
yeah.
keep coming out as a podcast, so you can keep listening wherever you listen to podcasts.
At producer Nikki with the facts.
Yes,
do
we
both.
are still a podcast, and now we'll have a
We're
video
just
option.
upgrading for the people who like
Sometimes
to.
even in your podcast player, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah.
Snap,
They
snap.
love us.
All right,
Oh,
so what's
did you
your
see snap, snap?
snap, snap?
My
Crazy.
prompt, I guess, for everyone that wants to respond to it is: are there any questions you have for me as a GM about what could have happened with the story, stuff that didn't happen?
No.
Why
about
are you
any
so
of it?
evil?
If
What's
it
in the
didn't
email?
happen, I'm gonna let it go.
And I'll answer what doesn't have any connection to season 2, if there are any of those questions.
What was the big race going to be?
Oh, yeah. Well, the big race was obviously El Capitan was going to do that. Then there was going to be sort of you guys as the pit crew.
I actually
to help-
love
No,
that.
I remember you
her
like
out.
setting
yeah,
that up a little bit.
Yeah,
on social
as the
media,
pit
but-
crew.
Okay, that
like-
team would have went so hard.
And like guiding her through the race, and then there was gonna be some sort of external issue that like was gonna affect the race if you guys didn't deal with it, of like Chava or something like that. That would get in the way, and you guys having to do that. But it was very likely that El Capitan was gonna be at the risk of death in that, and if not, potentially kill you in the race.
Oh, she's like, I'm scared.
I'll answer to this point, which is like in that sequence, I was like, I'm killing El Capitan. Like I had decided as the GM, I was like, I'm killing El Capitan. Like
In the
that's
race?
It like in that
The
arc
fuck?
at that point, it's somewhere. I was like, I'm killing El Capitan. Like that's
Whoa.
gonna like I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Like it is gonna be good for the story. It's
And
gonna
then I
change
hit
the whole party
eject
dynamic.
on your ass.
And not even in that sort of like warm up race. Like
Yeah.
wherever it
No.
continued, and then
Right.
like obviously there was that natural one that I rolled as the bad
Yeah.
guys when they're trying to fuck you up. But I was like, killing El Capitan, that's happening here. You're gonna lose El Capitan. What's gonna happen with Ardi? What is that gonna do for the group dynamics? Then we'll have to find a way to get a new character into the group.
Depression.
Interesting.
But it obviously didn't work out that way. But
Yeah.
that was certainly the plan.
Wow.
You don't always
Yeah.
get your way.
I seem to rarely do in this. In
And
this
I
world, in a
love
sense,
that.
which is good. That's the point. Yeah, that was
Oh.
one big thing that ever happened. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. What happened to Tober?
Tober's still on the ship with you.
Yeah.
It's
long
only
Right.
been like a day and a half. Like,
What
it
do I
hasn't
do
been
with
that
this
long.
guy?
He's gonna be your new Sam.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
You heard you guys' breakup talk.
And remember, he
Yeah.
does have a family.
That's right.
Yeah.
He has a family.
Oh, maybe I'll drop him off.
Yeah, maybe.
Just keep him
Bring his
there,
family on the
starving
ship.
to
It'll
death.
be, families are really good for religions.
Yeah, that's true.
Ah.
I'm gonna go door to door knocking on people.
Have you heard the word of sky?
Yeah. The sky word.
The sky word.
Aw.
Do you mind if I plug in this USB into your household electronics?
And this little USB full of nanobots into your chest.
Yeah.
That's actually. I want to talk about your descriptions of a lot of the things because
The grotesque.
cinematic. Oh, sure. Yeah. It was ugly. I didn't like it.
The drill in the chest.
I just think, like, for the story we're telling, like, you did it stylistically and visceral, and it felt real, but it was also, like, I don't know. I mean, it's sci-fi. Like, anything can happen. And it was
Sure.
just, I appreciated your
Thank you.
storytelling.
Thank you. Once I realized how much of a reaction I could get out of the two of you specifically, from that I was like, yeah, we're gonna keep this.
And my least favorite thing that you ever did is when you told me how I was feeling, which you love to do.
That was great. That was a great moment.
did that
Roll a
multiple
mental saving throw,
times.
fail, boom. I'm like,
You were
depression.
and as you hear this, you fade into the darkness. I'm like, yeah, I know what the darkness is like. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always something I was trying to balance, which was like how much of a description of things was I going to put into it and not have that drag the story, but still giving the audience some semblance of what the hell's going on. Like I actually look back to like episode 1. One of my favorite descriptions was when it was started with Levi and you were in space slowly drifting around and there was the planet and the ice and all of that, like in that whole sequence. I thought that was really fucking cool, and I really liked that, and I had to be careful about doing too much of that because then it was just like me describing for multiple paragraphs something that like we can cut it down to 2 sentences and keep moving. But I got my licks in with the violence and all that.
Also, with that too, to enhance your description, I think the audio editing and audio sound effects like continue to progress and get better as the season went
also
on.
like often when Matt is trying to describe something he wasn't prepared to describe and is like doing it off the cuff, he'll describe it 3 times. And the third one will be the best.
Yeah.
So you just take out the first 2.
I was talking about your audio,
like the sound effects.
The sound effects.
The SFX is great.
Yeah, they started to get good towards the end there.
Yeah,
I think.
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing I just always comes back to my mind is that episode that we didn't hit record on.
Oh my
talk
God.
about that.
I know.
Oh
That's supposed to be a secret.
Which I actually think is the best thing we ever did.
It's not. I think we've done better. Like the elevator episode.
Maybe
was better.
up to that point
that
at least.
time?
I think that was perhaps the best GMing that I did.
That was the best everything.
There was something about which is so fine. I'm not upset about it at
Bro,
all, even a little bit.
I forgot too.
But like.
Oh my
there was something
fucking
specific about that
God.
episode that like felt like a horror movie.
No, it was a horror episode for
that
sure.
like worked
I
and
can't even remember.
I know.
doesn't matter.
Because it was so good, but then we had to let it the F
so
go
good, we didn't
because
think
it was
about
gone.
which I'm just like would be curious as to how different the story would have been
For
had
sure.
that been the episode that was
For sure.
Release.
what was canon versus the thing that we did, to
I'm trying to think, what were the major because I know like when we did it the second time, it was completely different,
Yeah.
especially in the context of like roles and even decisions made. But like
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I just remember it ended on that like cliffhanger with Ardi teleporting right behind somebody.
right behind Calyx.
Right
behind
yeah.
Calyx, yeah.
Because Calyx came in and was all intimidating and scary, and then Ardi just appeared right next to him, and
Yeah.
Whoa.
and then it would have continued on of like that discussion versus then it ended up being a bit of a shootout and all of that. And you got shot, I think, in what we ended up.
Oh yeah,
recording.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Calyx shot you.
Wow.
Capitan. Yeah. There were just the little differences with that.
Yeah,
that
we
would've been curious.
fucked Calyx up when we first met him.
Yeah. It ended up being like, you guys beat that problem pretty handily versus what I think was setting up when we initially recorded it of like, oh no, you guys did not do this. Like you were not successful at this. And then Ardi and Calyx are together and what happens versus like you as a group captured Calyx and then made decisions. That was sort of the jumping off points. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that although that sucks that happened. That happened, right? Horrible.
Horrible.
Absolutely maddening. But wow, what a testament to us.
100%.
We bounced
And-
back. And
That day was
we
a real.
literally had to let it go. We had to be like, okay, so we're not going to try to recreate that. We're going to just do it again and see what happens this time. And we did. And that's hard to do, especially because the episode was really like tuned in. I think we were all like super connected and like it was so tight. And then just having to be like, okay, well, that's not what it is anymore. And we're doing something else. And
Yeah.
being like,
And to a point where like we forgot about it like that.
no,
And,
literally.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah, which like is again a testament to our ability to be like, okay, well, That really was
awesome.
Really amazing, guys.
We're
Yeah.
so good.
big
And if
jerk
you're
off.
listening to
Circle
this, listen, if they're listening to this, they also agree that we're pretty awesome. You know, like they're not listening this far if they didn't like us, at least a little bit.
Our one
There's some hate
listener, I'm
listeners,
just
I'm
kidding.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love
Thank
you.
you to the
shout out to the hate
haters.
listeners.
Shout out to the
Yeah.
hate listeners.
Mwah.
All right, that's all I had. Those were all my things. Anything else?
Is that it?
Well,
Final thoughts? Wrapping it up?
we should talk for a second that we're going to be doing an AMA on everything in the season.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
so that is coming up. We're going to be recording that shortly.
Hell yeah.
So are we asking people to ask us questions
Yes.
on the Discord?
You already did.
Ask me anything.
Yeah, and we're going to go over any of the questions. I know there's a couple questions in the Discord for intro questions that we didn't get to because we record a little earlier than the episodes are released, and they came up after we had already recorded.
Other announcements. We also have a couple of one-shots coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
2 big dog statuses.
Because
Ready
you
to
said
see
that,
some-
I'm excited, but honestly, I'm the most nervous I've ever been. I've never GM'd ever in my life. and
Do
I'm
we
nervous.
know the themes that we want to share? I know we know your theme.
I have a
Melinda.
theme.
All right,
Share,
Sam,
share,
relax.
share.
For Melinda's one-shot.
Okay, my one shot, bear with me, is like a dating reality show themed one shot.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Bachelor or no?
I would say closer to The Bachelor just because of the cast that I have.
And then Matt, and Matt's our bachelor, is that correct?
Yeah, that is
Oh,
correct.
God.
And then
yeah.
we'll be having obviously some familiar faces and some new fun. Actually, more familiar.
Yeah.
Because Catherine.
Catherine.
Catherine's
But
been on
then we got a
before. We'll bring her
newbie, and she's gonna be so fun. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't
that'll be
wait.
fun.
And then for Ian's?
I wanted to because I'm going to be doing mine in January, I believe, according to the calendar. I wanted to do it according to season, but honestly, I just fell in love with the idea of it a bit too much. Because also, Jory and I watched it like a
Oh, yeah.
couple
you
weeks.
talking
I want to
about?
do it over the garden wall.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like
yeah.
fall
sweet.
horror,
Over the
1800
garden wall.
romanticism,
So good.
kind of
So
like
good.
yeah.
Listen,
Over the
horror
garden wall is great.
is universal.
Yes.
Okay, you don't
Horror
have to.
eerie, more like. Less horror.
Psychological thriller.
Those are the best
Yes.
kinds.
Yes.
Nothing like.
Woodsman.
Oh, it's been. The beast is upon us.
All right, we're just making quotes now. Any other announcements?
I think that's the announcements for now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
guys.
making it through this whole season with us, and hopefully season 2
long ass
will.
talk back.
Yeah, it's long as talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully season 2 will be
Even better.
even better.
If
Yeah.
you're missing us, you should
How can it?
buy a T-shirt, and we'll hug you. With that being, we're gonna be.
We're
Let's cut
hugging
this
them
right.
if
Let's-
they
let's
wear
cut
the
this
shirt.
off right now.
If
Symbolically.
you
Hugging
buy
you.
the
You will be
T-shirt,
hugged
you.
by...
that T-shirt will be our spirit hugging you.
And if you buy the T-shirt and subscribe to the Patreon, you get to see me not wear the T-shirt because I'm gonna be naked.
Watch your calendar.
Take
It's
it off.
like
yeah.
you
All
want.
right, we need to turn this recording off now. We need to turn this off
Should
by
we say
now.
it?
It's coming off, guys.
Okay.
Okay, should we say it? Should we say it? Should we say it?
All right, let's do it.
Later,
looters. Bye, fuckos.
The Fable and Folly Network, where fiction producers flourish.
So this is the end of the world. Pretty weird, right? I'm Hannah. I'm sure you've probably noticed by now. I'm a zombie. Might even be the last one.
From the creator of Redmond Born and Cybernautica.
I can't exactly control most of the things zombie me does. I'm basically what amounts to a backseat driver in my own body. You learn to kind of just go with it after a while, I think. Like, do I feel bad for eating a family of 4 when I was new? You bet. Not exactly my favorite memory.
Hannah is living her best unlife, while unknowingly being on a crash course with Callie, an explorer desperately seeking to leave her mark on an American wasteland that seems to be all out of new discoveries.
One might say that it's the comics that got me into this, but between you and me, I'm gonna blame the McSodas. No sense in ruining everything I like in one day.
Together, this unlikely pair team up against the dangers of post-apocalyptia.
Okay, this thing is not playing around at all. Shit incoming!
Some Sometimes I miss the old days. Killing zombies for upstart communities, now that was a lot more simple. A lot more ethical, too. Wouldn't you say so? Don't you think it's a little more ethical to kill a zombie than just some stranger on the road?
Pan-Apocalypse, a story about love, death, and robots. Just not the Netflix kind.